Alrighty, welcome in, guys, to another sports podcast. This is episode 21 this year. I cannot believe it. We've gotten 21 episodes in to the sports podcast, guys. Thank you so much for coming on in here. The regular season has now concluded. That is right. We have arrived at Super Wildcard Weekend in the NFL. I am so excited. You know what we do here, guys. My name, of course, Big Nate, aka Always Trigger. Come on in. We're going to do my power rankings, teams 32-1, and my 3-segment style. This will be my final power ranking for all 32 teams. It concludes in the top 10, so these will be the top 10 teams in the NFL after the regular season is concluded. We're going to go jump right into the game slate for the Super Wildcard Weekend, so you guys will know exactly when those games are going to be on. And then I've got something a little special there for you for the top 5. We're going to go ahead and rank, since there's 6 games, we're going to rank all games from 6 to 1 for you. You know what we do? Let's start off with that basement, guys. So we'll go ahead and take it from 32. We have the Panthers, 31, the Jaguars, 30, the Giants, 29 is the Jets, 28, the Texans, 27 is the Lions, 26 is the Washington football team, 25, the Seahawks, 24, Miami, 23, Denver, 22, Chicago Bears, and 21, Cleveland Browns. So a couple things I wanted to point out here. The Panthers finishing as the worst team in the NFL after the 2021 season, according to my rankings, of course, and for good reason. I looked back at the whole year for them. You know, they started out 3-0. They acquired Stephon Gilmore. They thought they were going to have their quarterback with Sam Darnold. And man, what a turnaround they had after 3-0. They ended up going 2-12 down the stretch, finished 5-12. They ended up getting Cam Newton back. I don't know how many quarterbacks they have. They had Cam Newton's replacement, his replacement's replacement, and then they had Cam Newton being the replacement to his replacement's replacement. That's just a ridiculous season for them, and they've fired off a ton of their assistant coaches. Who knows what's going to happen with Matt Rule? I would have to say out of all of the teams in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers right now seem to have no direction. Now, the Lions, I wanted to point out as well, the 27th ranked team here, moving up 3 spots. I thought they played amazingly well this year. They played much better than their record would tell you they played. And say what you want about Dan Campbell, I was a little skeptical with his, biting kneecap stuff in the beginning of the year. But to be honest with you, when it comes to the NFL, it doesn't really matter what we think as fans. It really matters what resonates in that locker room. And I can see a fighting football team. And the Lions played about every game as tough as they could. So mad respect for what Dan Campbell was able to do there. Another thing I wanted to point out here, when you really look at all these basement teams, what I see a lot of is a lot of teams with quarterback questions. Even ones that have decent quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield, there's questions whether or not they're going to be in their cities and for how long. You got questions with Tua. You've got the Denver situation, Justin Fields. So you got a couple of young guys, of course, that are really good. You got Justin Fields in Chicago, Zach Wilson in New York. You got Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Of course, these young guys got to pan out. If you had to ask me, though, out of all the quarterbacks in the basement, which quarterback impressed me the most this year, and which one would I say, okay, I'm comfortable, building a franchise around? It honestly would be team number 30, the New York Giants. I thought Daniel Jones, despite how bad his team is around him, Daniel Jones played an amazing year this year. Of course, he's got some health issues. You want to see him on the field, but I thought Daniel Jones was improving week after week. The tape that I watched on him really impressed me here this year. And to be honest, I don't think New York really knows how lucky they are to have a quarterback like him. I think he's going to be a damn good quarterback next year. All right, let's go to the Fringe here. So in the Fringe, Team 20, I have the Falcons, 19, the Vikings, 18, the Saints, 17, the Baltimore Ravens, 16 is the Pittsburgh Steelers, 15 is the Philadelphia Eagles, 14, the Las Vegas Raiders, 13, Indianapolis Colts, 12, Los Angeles Chargers, and the 11th ranked team, Arizona Cardinals. So of all these teams here, teams 20 to 11, I'm sure the first thing most will notice is that these are not in order of the playoffs. So the top 14 teams, the ones that made the playoffs, are not the top 14 in my power rankings. And that's another sign of how comprehensive these power rankings for me are. They are a measurement of how strong these teams are today. It does not matter where they are in the standings to me. I don't do power standings. I do power rankings. So, in fact, if you see if the playoffs were the top 14 teams in my rankings, you would have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers not making the playoffs. And instead, you would have the Indianapolis Colts and the LA Chargers, teams 13 and 12 there, respectively, in the playoffs. I really think the Colts and Chargers had a phenomenal year this year. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. Now, the Colts, man, losing to the Jaguars, dropping 4 spots here down to 13. That's a small gut punch compared to the gut punch they got losing to the Jaguars out there in Florida. I mean, rough finish for them. They had a storybook year, pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. They just had to go beat one of the worst teams in the NFL, and they just couldn't do it. Jacksonville did a great job stopping their run game, and when you hold down Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz throwing his first interception on the road, that's rough. That's just really rough for them. So that's going to sting for the Colts for a long time. In fact, their loss opened up a ton of variables there for the rest of Sunday, including that Raiders-Chargers game there at night that went into overtime. Now, that was by far the game of the year. If you guys missed that one, that thing had everything in it. I mean, everything from the Chargers being down 14-29 with 8 minutes and 23 seconds to go. Crosby for the Raiders having a hell of a game. You had the Chargers with a game-tying drive. It was 2 minutes, 6 seconds. It consisted of 19 plays. Of those 19 plays, they had 3 fourth downs. 2 of those converted traditionally with Justin Herbert passes. The other one converted by penalty. So them tying the game on that drive, essentially making it possible for the Steelers to miss the playoffs completely, because if both the Chargers and Raiders tied, the Steelers would be out and both the Chargers and Raiders would be in the playoffs. So that made a very interesting dynamic. And lo and behold, what happened in overtime? Both teams kicked a field goal to make it 32-32. And then there was 4 minutes and some change to go, 4.5 minutes to go at that point. So the tie was very much alive. In fact, I thought the Raiders were on the edge. They were on the 39-yard line on the edge of field goal range. They were fairly content about running the clock out and just going to the playoffs. However, the Chargers called timeout. The Raiders then make a run with Jacobs for 10 yards and win the game 35-32 on a kick, ending the season for the Chargers. Just one of the most phenomenal games I've ever seen in the NFL, and made possible with this scheduling the way that it was. So kudos to the NFL, mad respect. That was a great finish to the regular season. Definitely a game that will never be forgotten. All right, guys, let's get into this. What are the top 10 teams in the NFL heading into Super Wildcard Weekend? At number 10, we have the San Francisco 49ers. They cracked the top 10 here. They faced the Cowboys in the playoffs. We're going to get more into that here in just a second. But they are really great when they run. San Francisco 49ers are, and they're playing really good football here down the stretch. They have Deebo Samuel. They have Kittle. And just a really, really impressive football team all the way around that Kyle Shanahan has. Number 9, the New England Patriots. Another team that always looks good when they're more run-focused, especially because they have a rookie. Mac Jones, in the last few weeks, he's cost the Patriots quite a few wins there with some of his mistakes. I mean, you see him throwing these interceptions, he's immediately holding his helmet. The Patriots definitely need to focus on that run game. They have a great defensive player in Matthew Judon and an excellent coach. They're going to be ready for their playoff games. Number 8, the Dallas Cowboys. So they finished the year a perfect 6-0 versus the NFC East. The only team, by the way, to win all their divisional games. In fact, that little nugget, I'll give you another one. The Jets are the only team to lose. So they're 0-6 in their divisional games this year. So how about that? The Cowboys winning all of theirs, the Jets losing all of theirs. The Cowboys have a lot of talent on their roster here, ranked at 8. You guys that know me well know that I very much know this team inside and out. It's really going to come down to how these Cowboys really face off in the playoffs. That's really where the rubber meets the road, and where the Dallas Cowboys, all the talent that they've developed on their roster, where it has to come to fruition. It's number 7, the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills have experience from last year, which for me gave them the slight edge over the Dallas Cowboys here between the 7th and the 8th spot. I just think the Dallas Cowboys, in all honesty, are a more well-rounded team than the Buffalo Bills. However, the Buffalo Bills are just a little bit of a better team Because they have Josh Allen. Josh Allen simply is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the NFL. That lateral that he did last week to Dawson Knox inside of 2 minutes in the first half versus the Jets, that was something out of this world. The things that Josh Allen can do are simply next level, and because of that, they took a slight edge over the Dallas Cowboys. Number 6, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals rested their players here in the last week. They didn't look good in that final game versus the Browns, but let's not forget they won their 3 previous games, a win in Denver, and then they hosted the Ravens and the Chiefs and beat both of those AFC teams. So very impressive there for the Bengals. They have a complete team, explosive players all the way around, especially a guy like Jamar Chase. I mean, that dude is an absolute animal for a wide receiver. Number 5, the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams losing their game after being up big at halftime, and not a way to finish the year, but lucky that they backed into their division, as the Arizona Cardinals, in fact, lost their game as well. So the Rams backed into the number 4 seed, and they finished at 12-5. I do like the Rams a lot simply because they have big names on defense that contribute very, very frequently. In fact, Aaron Donald, they have Jalen Ramsey, and they're getting their run game back. Akers, I don't know how he's back. Big fan of him, and I expect the Rams to do well here in the playoffs. They have the coach that can do it, and I fully well expect the Rams to have a good go at it here in the playoffs. Number 4, the Tennessee Titans. They're getting a lot of disrespect out there. They are the number 1 seed after all now in the AFC, so they will get the bye week. They should be getting Derrick Henry back here in the next 21 days. They did put him on that list, so he's coming off of IR. They do get the luxury of having a bye week here to start the playoffs, so an extra week for him to get healthy. They honestly don't absolutely need him right off the get. They've featured their running game throughout the year, so they're very well coached. Vrabel being the head coach there in Tennessee, and they're an extremely strong football team. Number 3, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yep, the GOAT Brady, the best to ever lace him up. He may not have Antonio Brown. He may have Lev Bell. But you know what? One thing Tom Brady will always get from me, he gets respect. His 5,316 passing yards, 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's serious MVP caliber type stuff. There's no denying that. Those are the kinds of numbers that make you make your team top 5 kind of NFL team right off the get. We'll see if they can make their run here and see if Tom Brady can notch up ring or championship number 8. Wow. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Kansas City Chiefs got right there toward the end of the season. I mean, they won their 9 out of their last 10 games. Their only loss being that game that they were dominating the first half against the Bengals in Cincinnati. So when you really look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they are a very tough football team. They are right now a very hot football team, and therefore are my 2nd ranked overall team. And the number 1 ranked team now, guys, 4 weeks in a row, the Green Bay Packers. Their quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, absolutely dominating the NFL this year with his touchdown-interception ratio. They have 2 running backs, which is phenomenal in today's NFL. They have a good coach in LaFleur. They have an excellent defense compared to defenses they had in the past. I'll be honest, this is the best Packers defense I have seen in a very long time. I don't know if anyone can truly beat the Packers. If they continue to play like they're playing, I would expect them to at least go to the NFC Championship game. That's where Aaron Rodgers seems to struggle. I don't know if that will happen again this year. I wouldn't feel comfortable betting against it. They are a damn good football team. All right, guys, let's go ahead and bounce this one over to Super Wildcard Weekend Game Slate. Let's go. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are bye weeks there for the number 1 seed. So the NFC, you have Green Bay Packers, they're on bye week, and the Tennessee Titans, they are on bye week as well. So these teams will not play. They will play the lowest seed from the winners that are left from this weekend's games. So you got 3 days of games here, guys. 3 days. You got Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We get a doubleheader on Saturday, a tripleheader on Sunday, and a Monday Night Football game. That doubleheader on Saturday starts with the Las Vegas Raiders at Cincinnati Bengals. That's the 4:30 game. At 8:15, you have the New England Patriots at Buffalo Bills. On Sunday, the 1 p.m. game is Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4:30 game, San Francisco 49ers at Dallas Cowboys. The 8:15 game, Pittsburgh Steelers at Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Monday nighter being that Arizona and LA Rams game out there in SoFi. And what I wanted to do was go ahead and rank these games for you. So from 6 to 1, let's go ahead and start it off with number 6. The Philadelphia Eagles and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ranked number 15 and 3, respectively, in my power rankings. I do expect the Buccaneers to really win this game fairly easily. Philadelphia can make it a game if they can get their running game going, but everyone knows that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are very stout against the run. Number 5, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's that night game for you on Sunday night. The Chiefs at home, the Pittsburgh Steelers getting into the playoffs. That was a heck of a way to get in. And I'm not sure if Big Ben and company can get after the Chiefs. If they can, the best opportunity they have, to be honest, is their run game. If they can really leverage off of Najee Harris, then they'll be able to maybe get into the Chiefs. I just don't expect them to beat the Chiefs. Number 4, the Raiders and Bengals. What a matchup there. Both 10-7 out there in Cincinnati. I think that's going to be a damn good football game. That'll be the first game, the Saturday afternoon game. Number 3, Arizona Cardinals and LA Rams, the Monday nighter. Can't go wrong with that one. That'll be the third time these two teams face off against each other this year. Good old NFC West battle. Number 2, New England Patriots at Buffalo Bills. In Buffalo again, and the weather is supposed to be bad from what I'm hearing. This could be just like that game we had about 40 some odd days ago. Very, very, very good game out there at Orchard Park. And the number 1 game for Super Wildcard Weekend, San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys. That's your primetime Sunday game. That's my rank number 10 versus my rank number 8. Just like the Patriots and Bills game. These games here, guys, these top 2 games, you better be ready. They're going to be exciting ones for sure. I really think these 2 games are going to be nail biters and probably come right down to the end. So that's how I rank them there, 6 to 1. Let me know, guys, down below. Is your team playing this weekend? What do you think is going to happen in their game if they are? I would really like to know, because I'm excited for Super Wildcard Weekend. I hope you guys are very much as well. I want to thank you guys all for watching, especially my family, my friends. You guys are truly amazing people. Thank you so very much. Peace.